blogger over at Julie Measures, and I'm also a knitter and crocheter, and I love to share original knit and crochet patterns, and that's what we're doing today. So I have a brand new niece. She's only a few weeks old. So clearly I have been knitting and crocheting lots of things for her, including a vintage inspired baby bonnet. So there's right there. So that's what we're going to work on today. This is a free pattern over at my website, Julie Measures. So head over, just do a search for baby bonnet, and you'll be able to find that pattern. And the beginning, okay, so I love this stitch called a puff stitch, and it is the back, it's the very back circle of this bonnet. And it's really cute, and it just kind of is a real vintagey feel. Hi, Elizabeth. And that stitch kind of inspired the rest of the pattern. So the pattern has some shell stitches and that puff stitch. And we're just gonna get started on that, so you can do the puff stitch and then keep going with the pattern. So I've got some worsted weight yarn. This is just kind of a medium weight, an Aran weight yarn. And then for this pattern I'm using a size G, which is a 4.25 millimeter crochet hook. And that's about it, all you need for this. The stitches that we're using for this pattern are all listed on the pattern, but we're using a single crochet, chain stitch, double crochet, slip stitch, and then the puff stitch. So if you print out the pattern, it has the directions for the puff stitch up here, and then in the pattern it references just to do a puff stitch, so this isn't written out. Head over to Julie Measures if you want to download the pattern. It's free. Just look for baby bonnet, and you can download that and print it out. And there are some matching baby booties too that we'll get to, and they're cute, and I did not grab them and put them over here on my desk. They're in my other craft area. So I'm going to flip the camera around so I can show you how to start this pattern and how to do that puff stitch. So talk amongst yourselves for just a minute. So for this, the pattern says to begin with a magic loop. So that's different than a slip knot, which is how a lot of our crochet patterns start. So for the magic loop, I'm folding that over. I have to think about this. No, other way. Okay, sorry. So I've got the short end here, and I want the short end on top, and then I'm going to go in here and pull it through, and that creates our magic loop, and that just makes it so I can adjust the tightness on it. Okay, so I am going to chain 1 and then make 9 single crochets in the magic loop. So to single crochet, I go in the magic loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through those loops. That's 1. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that just sets us up for our puff stitch. So one of the reasons I love the magic loop is then I can pull this and it tightens down that opening, and then you could, if I needed to add more, you can pull it open and close it. So I love, if I'm doing anything in the round crochet, I almost always use a magic loop or magic ring. It's called different things. Oh, I did want to mention that all of the terms I'm using are US crochet terms. So if you were somewhere else, you might use different terms, but I am using US crochet terms. Okay, so puff stitch. So I want to find my first 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 single crochet that I'm working with right here. And I'm going to make the puff stitch. So to make the puff stitch, I'm gonna make several stitches in that one single crochet, essentially. So I'm gonna yarn over, I'm going to insert it into the stitch, yarn over again, draw through the stitch, yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull through. And I'm doing that until I have 7 loops on my hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I yarn over and draw through all 7 loops. And that creates that puffy puff stitch. Alright, so I want to chain 1, and then I'm going to go into my next stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, insert, yarn over, go through the stitch. Now I have 3, yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, pull through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches, yarn over, and pull through all 7 stitches. So now I've created 2 puff stitches. Then I'm going to chain 1 and I'll make another puff stitch. Yarn over, insert. So now I have 2 loops on my crochet hook. Yarn over, pull through. That's 3. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through. Now I'm up to 5. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, and now I've got 7. Yarn over and pull through all 7. So there's puff stitch number 3. I'm going to chain 1 and go to the next. And I get to my 7 loops and I pull through all of those. And that is the puff stitch. And it makes a really fun circle that's on the back of this bonnet. And I love just the real vintagey look that it has. So if you have any questions about this stitch, let me know as I'm working it around. And you can kind of keep tightening that magic loop as you go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 puff stitches. When you get to the end of this round, which is round 2 on the pattern, you should have 9 puff stitches and 9 of these chain 1 spaces in between the puff stitches. So normally when you are working in the round, you kind of follow a pattern of, you know, like this had 9 stitches in the first round. The second round would double that. I'd go to 18. The next round would have 27. I would add 9, or whatever my starting stitch was, I would kind of add that number each time to make a flat circle that expands. Because of the size of the puff stitch, this round 2 has the same number of stitches as round 1, but they're bigger, so it still spreads out that circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is stitch number 8, chain, and then our last one. 3, 5, and 7. So that gets us all the way around. Elizabeth says, how long did it take you to learn to crochet? I honestly don't remember. I learned to crochet about almost 15 years ago, and it took a few weeks, I think. I had little kids at the time. Well, it was right after I had my twins, so not quite 15 years, but close. And I was looking for a hobby because I needed something for me, and yeah, I had somebody that kind of taught me the basics, and then I got a book and just kept going. Okay, so once you get all the way around, so I've got my 9 puff stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and my 9 chain 1 spaces. Then we're going to, the pattern calls to make 2 single crochets in each puff stitch and 2 single crochets in each chain space, which brings us up to 36 stitches for this round. 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So one of the, I think it's a asset to learn to both knit and crochet. There are things that I can do with crochet that I can't do with knitting, and there are things that I can do with knitting that I can't really do with crochet. They can provide very different looks. There are techniques to make them mimic each other sometimes, but each has their limitations, and so I love knowing how to do both. So, and it's very, Elizabeth asks, is it easy to follow a crochet pattern? So because I kind of learned to crochet, I learned using patterns. I do know that there are some knitters and crocheters who don't know how to follow a pattern, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy showing you the pattern written and kind of demonstrating, so that if you're confused with the written pattern, you get a chance to see it also. And sometimes those two things together really help. I think I missed a question. Hold on. Oh, Jean says, do you have a YouTube channel? I do, yes. It's Julie Measures. And if you go to my website, juliemeasures.com, there's a link there to the YouTube channel, or you could just search Julie Measures on YouTube. And is this only available while it's live? No, it will be posted when we're done, and I'll also probably try to put it on my YouTube channel. I usually do live videos. I usually upload the live videos to my YouTube channel when I'm done also. I can do, Sally says I can do both knit and crochet, but harder for me to crochet. It depends. There are some crochet techniques. I'm not really great with lace. If you'll notice, a lot of my patterns use this bigger yarn. I love bulky yarns or the worsted weights. I don't do a lot with the lace or fingering. I like projects that I can finish and that don't get tangled, but that's just my personal style. A lot of people love to make lace. Okay, I wanted to show you one more. Okay, so I talked about that this pattern uses the puff stitch, which is what we did. It also uses some other crochet stitches, a shell stitch, and a V-stitch, which I will do right now. So we have done the first post to your website. So in the video description above, it has a link actually directly to this pattern, and I'll post it in the comments too. And it's just, if you can see right there, it's just juliemeasures.com. So let's see. Okay, I was going to do the V-stitch. So when you get to the end of that round of single crochets, we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm pulling out my crochet hook unintentionally. Okay. And then I'm going to double crochet in the same space. And you'll kind of see, so this is a kind of what the V-stitches will look. The next space is over, we'll do a double crochet, we'll chain, and then we'll double crochet again. That long chain mimics that just for the start of this row. So then I skip the next 2 single crochets, so I do nothing in those 2 stitches, and I go to the next stitch, and then I make a double crochet, I chain 2, and I make a double crochet. And that makes this V stitch. And then I'm just going to repeat that around. So then I would skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and go into the next one and make a double crochet, chain 2, and make a double crochet. And then I would skip 2, go to the next stitch, make a double crochet, chain 2, and make a double crochet. And that creates this V stitch, and that'll repeat all the way around this round. So most of the rounds kind of focus on one type of stitch or another. So we had the round with the puff stitches, and now we have the round with the V stitches, and then there's a round with some V's and shells. So this is kind of a fun pattern to introduce you to a lot of different types. We're still using, you know, just that, the chain stitch, the double crochet, those stitches that we've already learned, but when you put them together in new ways, then you can create different shapes, which is one of the really fun things about crochet, is it's kind of freeform sometimes. So we can create these different shapes with our stitches. And 1, 2, we're still repeating. So we skip 2 spaces, we make a double crochet, we chain 2, we make another double crochet in that same space. So if you miss that, those go in that same space with the chain in between the double crochets to make that V stitch. And then when you get to the end of that round, we just join with a slip stitch into like the 3rd chain space where we started. So then you can kind of see, so we've got that puff stitch, which to me always looks kind of like a flower, and then that round with the V stitches. The next round, we just double crochet in every stitch. So you start by chaining 3, and this is kind of where the shaping for the bonnet begins, because you double crochet in, so at this point we're up to 48 stitches around, and then the next round you double crochet in only 36 of them and leave, well, 37, but you leave several of the stitches unworked, so that starts to form the bottom edge of the bonnet, because then we keep moving forward up here and we leave these unworked, and that becomes the bottom. Hey guys, welcome. My name's Julie and I'm a blogger over at Julie Measures, and every Friday we get together and we do a little crocheting or knitting. This week we're doing some crocheting and we're working on this baby bonnet free pattern. So today we're going to start on round 6. I am usually knitting and crocheting in North Texas near Dallas. Today, you might be able to tell from my surroundings, I'm actually in a hotel room. I'm traveling today, so it's a little bit different kind of going on, but even traveling, I've got some yarn and a crochet hook. Last time we started this pattern, hi Brittany, we'd worked the first 6 rounds last time. So that started with our puff stitch here, and then we did a round with this V stitch, and then round 5 which I don't have on the previous video, but I did before starting today, was just making double crochets, 4 double crochets in each of these. Vera, hi from Australia. I made 4 double crochets in each of the chain 2 spaces that were in my V-stitch right here. So this next round, which is round 6, is where it starts kind of taking shape for the bonnet. Up until this point, we've just been making an expanding circle, but round 6 is where it starts the shaping, so that you get this flat at the bottom here to create that bonnet shape. So I'm gonna flip the camera around so that you can see my hands while we're working on this. Susan, good morning from Belgium. Okay, from all the places, I've actually been to Belgium. I went about, oh, we won't say, a long time ago. When I was still in high school with my parents. It was beautiful. Hi, Angela. So I'm going to flip this around. So here's the pattern, the baby bonnet crochet pattern. I said it is free on my website. You can go grab that. Good morning from Manila. And we are starting on round 6, which is where it's gonna take shape. So the previous round, round 5, had 48 stitches. In this round, we're just gonna make 37, and that's going to make this flat piece right here. So I did the row with this V-stitch, and then I made 4 double crochets in each of those spaces, and that was round 5. And then round 6, we're going to slip. Really, that's finishing off round 5, is to slip this first stitch, and then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and that counts as my first double crochet. And then I'm going to do a double crochet in each of the next 36 stitches, so that's 37 stitches total, and that's going to leave 11 stitches unworked to create that flat, to start creating the shaping for our bonnet. So if you haven't done a double crochet before, that's just the stitch that I'm doing right now. So I'm going to yarn over, insert it into the stitch, pull through those 2 loops, and pull through those 2 loops. And see, okay, there, look, add in some extra. I realized that the lighting is not great in the hotel room, but I didn't want to miss it. I missed you guys last week. I was running a charity golf tournament last week, and I even brought my yarn to the course because I thought, well, maybe I'll have a down moment and I can get on and craft with you guys. When you were running the tournament, there is not downtime, in case you're wondering. So, I do knit in public. I thought it would be really fun to knit at a golf course. I will have to hold on to that idea and do it another time, because it did not happen last week. So I didn't want to miss another week, so we're crocheting in the hotel room. But to me, traveling, of all the crafts, traveling with yarn is great. You can't really break it. You can just squish the yarn into your bag. I love to crochet in the car on road trips. I can still talk and interact with everybody, and it just keeps my hands busy. It makes me happy. I get a little bit of anxiety sometimes in the car, and keeping my hands busy really helps me. So, okay, so I'm crocheting around. I'm not really counting, so I'm going to count how many stitches I have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I did one too many. Okay, I need 11. And if we can math, I'm using math as a verb. If there's 11 left, then I should have made 37 single crochet or double crochets to go around. Okay, so that starts shaping the bottom of our bonnet as that creates that flat edge, and then the front of the bonnet keeps moving forward. So, and there's the back with a little bit better lighting. I love this puff stitch at the center of the back. That's kind of the inspiration for the whole thing. I just love that vintage look. I am doing this in blue. Could be for a boy or a girl. I read a whole thing about how blue used to be the color for baby girls. So a vintage blue bonnet would be totally appropriate for a little baby girl or a baby boy, whatever you want. Okay, so that is round 6, which isn't really a round anymore because we're not going all the way around. But all right, now we're going to go on to 7. Here I'm going to chain 4. Now instead of doing a round, when we get to the end of the row, we're going to turn and work back. So I'm going to chain 4. This counts as 1 double crochet and a chain 1, and then I am turning and I am going to double crochet in the same space. And this is another round with some V's, because that's kind of what I just started there. So I'm skipping the next 2 stitches. Actually, this is a shell round. And I'm going to make 5 double crochets in this 1 stitch. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I made 5 double crochets all in that 1 stitch. Then I'm going to skip 2, and then in the next double crochet I'm going to make, in the next, this spot, I'm going to make a double crochet, I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to make a double crochet. So I've got alternating V stitches, and then a shell, and then a V. And then I'm going to skip 2, and I'm going to make another shell. I'm going to do those 5 double crochets all in the same stitch. One of the fun things, if you haven't made hats before, to make a baby hat, because it's little and so it goes fast. So there's 4, there's 5, so I'm going to skip 2, we're going to make another V stitch by doing a double crochet, chaining 2, and a double crochet. Then I'll skip 2 and I'll do 5 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've said if you're just tuning in, if you've never done crocheting before, make sure to head over to my YouTube channel, and I've got Learn to Crochet videos, and it goes step by step with how to do each individual stitch before you put them together in a pattern. But I know not everybody likes to read patterns, so sometimes doing these videos together so you can see all of the stitches, and then you can print out the pattern and have the written pattern and a visual to go with it. So I'm just continuing my, okay, this is the end right here of round 6. So the last thing I'm going to do is the V-stitch, and that matches up with how we started that row with that V-stitch over there. So there's our little hat, and now as we're moving forward on this kind of brim part. Okay, and then it gets easier to see as this height difference increases from the back of the hat to the part that we're still working. So I want to turn and chain 3, and then I'm going to make 2 double crochets
in this chain 2 space from my from the V-stitch, and then I'm skipping 3, and I'm going to end up in the center stitch of that shell. So 1, 2, 3 that I'm skipping, and I'm going to work in this stitch, and I'm going to make 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. So I'm kind of placing then a V-stitch in the center of that shell stitch. Thank you, Brenda. Okay, then I'm going to come over as I look back and forth and lose my spot on my pattern here. Okay, then I'm going to come to the next chain 2 space, and I'm making 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to go back to the center. I'm skipping 3 again. I'm going back to the center of my shell, and I'm going to make another V. And then I'm just repeating that across this row. So in the chain 2 spot, I'm making 5 double crochets, and in the center of the shell, I'm making a V. So thanks guys for sharing the video. If you've got a friend who wants to learn to crochet, make sure to share this with them. Or if you've got somebody that already crochets and you want them to make you a little bonnet. Okay, so now I'm back over here. I'm doing the double crochet, chained 2, made another double crochet, back over here to the chain 2 space, and I'm making my 5 double crochets. And this is a pattern for a newborn size. So if you wanted to make the pattern for a baby that's slightly bigger, I would suggest just increasing the size of your crochet hook. Carolyn, why is it not the same height all the way around? One side is shorter than the other. So because I'm making a bonnet, this is the back and we're moving forward. So these first few rounds were done in the circle, and now I'm just moving forward. So I'm going to finish with 3 double crochets. Good evening in Belgium on that. Okay, so, and then we'll go back and we will stitch around the whole hat to finish it off and kind of even it out, but this is the shape that we're making. So this is the back of the hat, and it comes forward like that. So the little baby hat goes like that. Instead of being like a beanie, just a different shape. Okay, so at the end of that row, all right, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're double crocheting in the first space. Hold on, I lost my place again. No, okay. Okay, hold on. We're on row 10. So I want to chain 3. And I'm going to make 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. Right here, 1 and 2. And this is kind of a repeat again. So we've got, now this will be like the third row essentially, where we've got a shell, a V-stitch, a shell, a V-stitch, and then in this row We just stacked them the opposite. And then this next row is going to be the same thing again, where we'll have the V-stitch on top of the shell and the shell and the V-stitch. So I'm trying to look and see. Okay, we'll go ahead and finish this. So I am doing my where am I at, guys? Okay, I've got 2 double crochets in my chain 2 space. Then I'm skipping 3. I'm getting to the center of my shell, and I'm making 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And you probably hear noise in the background. I've got other people in my room with me who are being very nice and quiet. And humoring me so I can do this with you guys today. Okay, then we're gonna get over to this chain 2 space, and I've got 5 going in here. Okay. So I said we're just kind of alternating these last 3 rows with how we're stacking the V's and the shells. And it just gives it a fun, kind of open look on this part of the pattern. Get over here to my chain 2 space. And now I'm trying to hurry up and I'm catching the yarn. Okay, there we go. And then the last round, we're just going to single crochet. Well, okay, so when we get to the end of round 10 is where we're gonna make the little ties for the bonnet that hang down. So they can tie on. And if you click over the link in the video description to get the pattern, you can actually see my newest niece wearing this hat. Okay. And I'll finish this off. Okay. So when you get to the end of 10, then you can really see how that's how our bonnet took shape. And then this kind of can flare out around the baby so it fits like that. Okay, so then you make the ties, and for these, we're just gonna single crochet, and I did about 40, not single crochet, chain. So I'm gonna chain 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's get rid of these cables. 9, 10, 11, 12. And you could, can I count and talk at the same time? I probably won't do exactly 40. We'll do a few. This part is totally customizable. 40 seemed to be a good length, I thought, to be able to tie it. If you don't want to actually tie them, and you just want them to hang down, then, you know, do whatever looks good. Okay, so whatever the length is that you decide, then you're gonna slip stitch back up, which just means not this first. So here's the loop on my hook. We're gonna skip this one, and I'm gonna go into this one, and I just yarn over and pull through both to make that slip stitch. And I'll slip all the way back up to the top of my bonnet. And it just creates a really nice little piece here for the ties. So I said I did 40, and that's what I had on the pattern, but you know, depending on what you like. We did use the ties on my niece to help keep it on her. But if you just want them to hang down and look cute, this would be a really cute hat for a baby shower gift, for baby photo shoot. When really, if you have a newborn, when is it not a photo shoot? Take pictures all the time. Every time I watch my niece, I take lots of pictures. They're so little and cute. And my kids are enjoying having a new cousin around. Okay, so you slip stitch up the top and it makes this really nice kind of fabric. And then we're going to single crochet evenly across the back of the bonnet. Now, you'll notice that there are not really, other than the actual back part, which were those 11 stitches that we skipped, we're working into the side of these rows. So evenly is kind of your discretion. I know that's not super helpful, but as a general rule, if it's a double crochet, I'm probably putting 2 single crochets into that height. But by single crocheting around the edge, it just gives it a finished look and it makes it very neat looking instead of, so you can see this is the edge that we've single crocheted. This is the other edge that just kind of can pucker and do some weird things. So it just looks much more finished off if you go around and do a single crochet. And then we'll go across the back and single crochet in each of the actual stitches left over from when we stopped working. We did that short row. And then when we get to the other side, we'll make another tie, and that finishes off the hat. So let me know if you have any questions about this pattern as I'm finishing it off. If you need help with any of the individual stitches, you can find that on YouTube. Just search for Julie Measures. The pattern is free. There's a link in the video description. You can also just do a search for baby bonnet on my website at Julie Measures, and it'll pull it up for you. So I've got to the other side, and you can see that just really gives it a nice finished look. And then we would chain on this side for the length of the tie, and then I would come back and slip to come back up, and then all that's left is to cut the ends and weave them in, and you can do that with a tapestry needle or your crochet hook just to tuck in all those loose ends. And that's how you make, I know I didn't make that one as long, but that's how you make that baby bonnet pattern. There is a baby booty pattern too if you want to make some little shoes in the same color yarn for a cute little set. But there's that pattern. Let me know if you have any questions. Click on over to Julie Measures, give it a like, and let me know if you have any knitting or crochet questions. If you have any requests for what you want to see us make in future weeks. Next week we'll be doing a knitting video, so tune back in for that. And I'll see you guys crafting again soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.